Hello everyone, welcome to Widnes Rugby Chat episode 17, back again. The weeks are flying by now and it's always a little bit of a stressful time trying to organise doing one of these, but positive performance again by Widnes at the weekend against Barrow. For those of you who went up there, it was a fresh day, it was a cold day, but Widnes prevailed 20 points to 4-0 down at half time. Two Jamie Dallymore penalties had Barrow 4-0 up at half time. I must admit I stood behind the end where Widnes attacked in the first half, and I didn't realise how windy it was because I was under cover, and it was only when I went up and sat in the stand in the second half that I realised that Widnes had actually been playing into quite fierce wind in that first half. Perhaps explaining why Dallymore was able to kick those two penalties from almost halfway for Barrow. But a really good start to the second half. Widnes scored off the first set. I think it was Ted Chappell, a couple of really good drives, got Widnes within range, and then a bit of a fortunate one, I suppose, in the end. But a good start to the second half, set the platform, and another solid win. I think could have played till Christmas maybe, and Barrow wouldn't have scored. So you know, a positive performance on a really heavy pitch, heavy going pitch. I thought obviously Jordan Johnson had to step up as starting hooker. Played the full 80, obviously with Liam Hood having left last week. I thought he did okay. I think it's a shame that for whatever reason Dom Speakman was unavailable, because I feel like maybe there would have been a place for him certainly in that game, a bit nippier around the ruck, and obviously to give JJ a bit of a rest as well. I thought Johnson put in some really good shots defensively. But another really encouraging all-round performance. 12 of the 17 this week were from the academy, so a brilliant signs of progress from the academy players, especially at Barrow, because Barrow, you know, last season Barrow beat Lee, they drew with Toronto at home. It's a tough place to go, weather's tough, windy, horrible pitch, and in the end it was a really professional performance, so lots to be encouraged for. I should at this point thank our sponsors, as I always do: Musical All Sorts, PD Law, Arnold Gorse Financial Management, and Deals Jewellers. All that revenue, of course, went to the GoFundMe page to save the club, which I believe there's been a little bit of a hold up with getting. There's a lot of for those of you who may have run GoFundMe pages in the past, there's always a little bit of politics in getting the money transferred, but sounds encouraging. There was a statement this week from VIQI with a bit more information on what's going on. They made it clear that no further players were leaving. I know a few people were tweeting me with there's another website, I should say, I won't name it, but you'll know who it is. They're serious about clickbait, so there was a few stories flying around about Widnes players leaving. VIQI statement confirmed that no other players would be leaving. There's obviously issues with money, because season ticket money and sponsorship money had already been taken and accounted for by the previous owners. So it's still a challenge, even though the club was saved. There's still challenges ahead for the club, and of course it's great to see actually on the club's Facebook and Twitter and stuff, a lot of people coming forward and donating, and even still, so all that money is good. Of course, I'm going to bang my drum about me Love Our Club event for next February, so hopefully that gets tidied up. I wanted to mention WISSL as well, so the other supporters trust, so they're the supporters trust that's aligned to Sports Direct. They're planning, I think there's a meeting on Monday next week, or there's something coming up. There'll be some details on Twitter, no doubt, of how they can help continue to fundraise for the club. And you know, it appears that the VIQI situation means that the fans are represented on the board, and it'll be really interesting to see how that all fits in together at some point over the next few months. Of course, the priority at the moment is just getting by week to week and the survival of the club. This week, back at home again, Bradford, a massive game, and hopefully Bradford will bring plenty of fans, so it should be another good crowd. It'd be brilliant if the crowd against Featherstone could be replicated, and based on that match, the Featherstone match, you know, if you were at that Featherstone game, I don't see why you wouldn't come back to watch it again, even though the price might be a little bit more. £20, it's been confirmed it's going to be £20 every game, which is fantastic, I think. You know, that I've made my feelings clear on the pricing strategies. I think you've got to make it as simple as possible. You make it a flat price. Obviously gold and silver is a bit more, but just say, right, it's the standard price plus a £5 for silver, or plus a £10 for gold. Dead simple, makes marketing a lot easier, and everyone's happy. Of course, it's spreading the word is the biggest challenge from that point of view. Bradford haven't really been doing too well, which is surprising because everyone sort of thought they'd be up there for a top 5 place. I said this on Twitter, I think last week. I might have mentioned it in the video. I still believe Widnes have got a shot at making the top 5. I know they've got the -12, but I think there's so many teams that are going to be taking points off each other in that top 7 or 8 that I do think if Widnes can maybe get away with losing maybe 3 games, I think, between now and the end of the season, and still have a shot at getting in the top 5. But we'll see how that all pans out. The 3 games against Lee are probably going to be critical as well. But nice to just be talking about rugby and to be encouraged by that as well. I know people ask about signings. Of course, we've got Lewis Johnson coming from Warrington. Be interested to see how he goes. Bit of a weird one that he's on a month's loan. He's already missed a week, and we've got Challenge Cup coming up, so I presume that he won't play in the Challenge Cup game either. So he's probably going to only play 2 games. So hopefully, maybe, I don't know if there's any potential for that to be extended. Speaking of the Challenge Cup, the draw was on Tuesday night, so Widnes were drawn away at Oldham. I was quite happy with that draw because I've never been to Oldham's current ground, so as someone who likes to tick grounds off my list, I'm quite happy about that one. I saw a few people commenting it's quite a basic stadium, it has to be said. It holds 1,500, it's actually not good enough for Championship. So when Oldham got promoted to the Championship a couple of years ago, they had to move to Stalybridge because Whitebank Stadium, it's now called the Vesticare Stadium, it isn't good enough to satisfy the RFL's criteria for the Championship, but it's okay for League One. Artificial pitch as well, so there'll be no mud bath like at Barrow, and of course Widnes will be used to the artificial surface as well. So hopefully we'll see some good numbers travelling there. I would be surprised if it got moved from Vesticare Stadium. And I mean, as much as people might say, oh, Widnes might take 1,000. The Challenge Cup games aren't really notoriously well attended, and Oldham only average about 500, 600 fans at home. So I'd be surprised if it got moved. I know a few people said they switched to Widnes or even play it at Stalybridge. I don't think playing at Boundary Park, the football ground, is an option. I mentioned this again on Twitter the other night. The last time Widnes played Oldham was actually the first game of the 2009 season. Oldham won 22-20 and Steve McCormack was sacked after just 1 game of the season. Los Wildboar, who Phil Finney actually mentioned in passing at the fundraising event at the stadium a couple of weeks ago. Los Wildboar got sent off on his home debut. Widnes actually outscored Oldham 4 tries to 2, but James Coyle, playing for Oldham, kicked a ruck of penalties, and that's what got Oldham the win, and that cost Steve McCormack his job. John Stankovic then took over for a couple of games, won 88-0 and 70-0, and then didn't get offered the job permanently, and Paul Cullen came in, and the rest, as they say, is history. So Oldham, be nice, obviously first meeting in what, 10 years, so always good to play different teams. Oldham were in National League 1 in 2006, so that would have been the last time Widnes played Oldham away. That was at Boundary Park actually, as well. So something to look forward to there. And before I round up on a brief podcast this week, just because got no guest on this week, so I don't like to witter on for too long. I mentioned this quite a while ago, and it was a suggestion on the new, well, it's now the Widnes Rugby Forum. Steve, I think it was. I apologise if it wasn't you, Steve, or if it was somebody else. They suggested having a fan phone-in number, and I am pleased to say that we have now got that number. And so this number will enable you. You can't ring me on it, I'm afraid. Well, you could if I set it up, but I'm not going to do that. It'll go straight to voicemail. You'll be able to leave a voicemail. I'll pick out the best ones each week, and I'll feature them in the podcast. Ring me after the game. Ring after the game. Ring during the week. Ring whenever you want. It'd be great to hear some different opinions. Obviously, we'll play it by ear, see how it goes. It might be that I raise up a topic for debate each week, and we'll say, right, leave ring in at the end of this episode or whatever, and leave your opinion on things. But I'll leave the floor open to you for the first week or the first few weeks, and we'll see how it goes. Obviously, try and keep it clean so I can minimise the editing work that I have to do. The number, which I will put in the description, I've got it written down. It's 0151 203 5871. That's 0151 203 5871. So that's your new Widnes Rugby phone-in number. You never know, we might do some live or something at some point as well. Sorry to keep it short this week, but that's it from me for now. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. Give us a like, give us some comments on Twitter. Share it as far as possible. Thanks again to the sponsors, Musical All Sorts, PD Law, Arnold Gorse Financial Management and Deals Jewellers. And I'll see you next week.